PhD in strategy. And since then, I've been working as a professor. I usually do 2 or 3 management consultant activities every year. Keep myself involved and to really engage folks in their own strategic processes. Something that's changed for me recently is in the last 3 or 4 years, I've engaged in 4 or 5 nonprofit activities, and it's helped me understand strategy from a slightly different perspective. Additionally, I'm also a small business owner, and with my wife, we own a business that employs about 25 people. So we've got a feel both at the medium to large enterprise level as well as absolutely in the small business side. So that's me in a brief nutshell. And so I do look forward to engaging you over here over the next several months here. Any questions on the background? All right, fair enough. So because we have a very limited time right now, and this is in preparation for what I understand to be an off-site meeting here in a month or 2, an opportunity to re-engage the strategic process, there are a few things that I would look to the board to do. This is a sense of homework, if you will, and so a chance to break out a piece of paper and pencil and give you a chance to look at what you're to do something actually in preparation for this. I can boil it down to 3 things. The first is really to give board members. Is this the whole board, Ufuk? Is this everybody?
No, actually not. We have a couple of people are missing right now because of their different things, travel and that sort of thing. But I'm actually taping you right now, so I'm going to distribute this.
All right, very good. All right, so the first thing is we need to know who you believe you are. Who are you? Who is this? Who is the CFA Society Seattle? And I would ask you to take a very pragmatic view to this particular question, because you may have an idealistic view of who you actually are, but I'd actually ask you to look historically a bit. Investigate where you invest your time, investigate where you spend your dollars, and if you wrote press releases, not that you necessarily write press releases, but what would be the topics of the last 3 or 4 press releases that you could have written had you done something of any substance that would warrant a press release. Understanding the where you move your resources, your time and your money, where you would focus your efforts gives us a little bit of a historical perspective to understand that question of who you actually are. I would ask you in the process of answering the who you are question to also understand how that ties into the larger CFA Institute. How do you perceive that connection into the larger entity? So that would be homework assignment number 1. I would, and I see this as jotted in notes. I see this in paragraph form. This is something that you would bring to a retreat that we would be able to explore as people were able to share. The second piece of homework. Here's a question for you. How long does it take for the elevator at of the Space Needle to go from the bottom to the top?
30 seconds?
You don't have to. I want to hear the answer to that.
30 seconds?
Oh.
No,
It's actually 43 seconds. Okay, it takes 43 seconds to go from the bottom to the top of the Space Needle. Here is the actual homework assignment associated with that. Each individual who would be engaging in this strategic process needs to prepare a polished oral elevator pitch of who the CFA, the Society Seattle is. And in this pitch, we've got to have 4 things that we need to capture. The first is an identification of what you believe your purpose is. What is your purpose? The second thing is what is the primary goal of your organization? And if you're struggling mightily at the word primary, fine, then maybe a secondary goal is fine. The third thing is what direction are you going? And probably just as importantly is what direction aren't you going? And the fourth piece in this elevator pitch that I would ask you to be able to synthesize in 43 seconds is an identification of a few major guideposts, milestones, that would help you understand whether or not you are actually achieving those goals. If each individual will prepare in that oral elevator pitch and be prepared to share it at the retreat, we'll be able to start to bring together the things that are most important to this board. So that's the second major piece of homework in preparation for the next couple months. And the last one is, does everyone know what a BHAG is? Everyone heard the expression BHAG, B-H-A-G, big, hairy, audacious goal? Come across your thing. So, big, hairy, audacious goal. And some people replace the word audacious, but anyway, it's a big, hairy, audacious goal. The third thing that I would ask each individual to do, and this is especially just one, is I'd like each individual independently to come up with one BHAG, one big, hairy, audacious goal for CFA Society Seattle. And the way to measure this is whether or not it qualifies for BHAG status, is that if you accomplish this over the next, say, 5 years or so, that in fact this would be something that you would talk about for the rest of your life, as something that you were engaged in, that was meaningful to you, that impacted not only yourselves, but your organization and potentially the community at large. So 3 things. So we basically need to have that who are you question answered. We need the elevator pitch with the 4 items that I identified, and we also need you to identify one BHAG for this organization that, if accomplished, would be an important mark for the organization. If we can complete these things, then we will have a pretty solid session here in the next month or 2 when we schedule that retreat. Are there any questions that I can strive to answer before I run off to go teach a class?
So how is this going to fit with our potential revision of our mission statement? If we do, is that the understanding that comes from this exercise is going to feed into that, or? Yeah,
in general, the guiding elements of strategy, mission, the objectives, those pieces, potentially vision, really come from the individual members who make up the leadership of an organization. And so this activity that I'm asking you to go through really helps me dive a little bit into your understanding of who you are, where you believe you ought to be going, and also dives into some of those real aspirational pieces, which fundamentally will shape the activities of strategy development.
Anyone else would like to raise any questions? Yeah, we will spend actually another 30 minutes today on this issue, and I'm sure there are going to be some questions coming up, and I'll be discussing with you more in detail later.
That sounds great. Hey, thank you for just a few minutes here, and I look forward to meeting you and others who are not present here in the next month or 2.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.